everybody. I'm Jack Flickerman from Jack Born to Talk at 9. Yeah, I know. I look like Caesar Flickerman from the Hunger Games. Well, today we have a special guest. Guess who? It's Alexander the Great, the winner of the great King Edward in 326 BC. Now, after the awesome fight with India, he has agreed to have an interview with us today. Welcome, Alexander!
Why, hello, Jack. Such a great introduction.
Oh, Alexander, you're just too kind. In this talk, the questions everyone wants to know are going to be answered here. Today, now. Hopefully, first of all, how does it feel to be the winner of the great King Edward?
Well, it feels great. You won't get that opportunity in every day of your life.
You have lived a very interesting life so far. But first, can you tell us a little bit about your life?
Sure, of course, I came here to answer those questions. Well, when I was little, my mother, Queen Olympias, always told me that my father hated me. She told me that, "Oh, my dear Sander, you poor little thing. You've always been good, but your father is just too obsessed with fighting rather to take care of you." So I decided myself, Jack, that after that day I'll hate my father and be enemies.
Didn't your father damn you because you were too rebellious?
Jack?
Oh, no, don't kill me now. I still have a debt of 2 million shells to pay and dozens of 10 days old kids to take care of.
Kidding, Jack.
Phew.
Well, the reason he dumped me was that I am a little bit rebellious.
Why?
Well, I was real rebellious, but I used to have two best friends. They were Cassia and Ray. Cassia's dad used to fight for my dad's army, and Ray's dad was the commander of the Persians.
How come? A Macedon prince and a Persian number one commander's son?
It's actually a secret, Jack. But never mind about that.
Okay, it's best to give you some private space. Carry on.
Thanks. One day, Cassia's dad went to fight with the Persians and he got killed.
Oh, poor Caesar.
Not only that, Jack, he was killed by Ray's dad. After that day, Cassia's family moved away. They got hunted down by the debt's owner.
Get me some tissue.
Also, on that very day, I decided to betray Ray. I asked him about what the Persians were up to, and he told me yes, he will. And after that day, he reported the information to me, and I gave it to my dad.
Don't you yet wonder where you get this top secret? Only the Persian top awesome holic soldiers know news.
I told him that I have the vision.
Did your dad find out?
Yep, he found out and abandoned me. He excused me that I worked for the Persians. That's one of the main reasons why I hate him. I tried to help him, but he paid me by trashing me.
Calm down. We here all understand you. We might want to stop for a while, then continue this show.
I'm fine, thank you.
Well, if you want to rest, tell me. Let's get on to the questions. This is the question that most people want you to answer. How did you get the name The Great?
Well, there isn't a real purpose of why my citizens call me that, Jack. I guess it's because I ruled the largest empire of this time. My empire is the Greek Empire, or known as the Macedon Empire, which covered about 5.2 million square kilometers and covered about 3.49% of the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone heard that right? Such a massive number.
Well, yeah.
Awesome, but before we get off topic. How were your battles?
Well, Jack, I won a lot of battles, but victory comes with great loss.
Would you like to talk about your famous ones?
Sure, let me think. Who wants to hear about the battle with India? In that battle, I lost plenty of soldiers. It happened on a July in 326 BC. As our army approached the Hydaspes River, we saw that the Indian army was ready. But the thing that really gets my attention is they were riding on elephants.
Wow, interesting. How huge were those elephants?
Super really big, also really strong. It had the strength of 10 horses combined together. That was one of the reasons that we struggled during the battle. Also, India's leader was very smart and powerful.
What was India's leader's name? When I watched the Alexander at 1-2 play, it skipped the part. I heard people say the name. Is pork, prickles, or prickle?
I think I remember the leader name is Porus. Let's get back to the battle then.
Oops, my bad.
As I stepped closer, the sky roared and rumbled. I thought that the world came to an end. We fought through a terrible storm. After we were nearly dropping dead on our feet from the furious battle, the victory was in our hands. My soldiers pushed through the pain and the day was won. The sky pulled up its gray curtain and showed the blue sky. I captured Porus like I did with many other leaders of the land that I had conquered. After a while, I felt pretty bad for him, so I gave an independent province to him as a gift.
You're such a nice person, Alexander. Would you like to also give us some detail about the other battles?
Of course, this one would certainly catch your attentions. The battle with Persia. I took this battle 2 years after I took the throne. It was my first big fight as a king. The very first battle was the Battle of Granicus. Our troops defeated 2,000 Persian horsemen and the same amount with the foot soldiers. As I stand there fighting hand to hand with the vicious leader, he was so muscular and huge, but because of that reason they lost. I punched him in the stomach and he can't balance himself, so at that moment he fell. The second battle was the battle with Isis, perhaps the most important of these three. In this battle, King Darius III, he led the army himself. And the last battle is the Battle of Gaugamela.
Alexander, you had really bought a pretty sweet revenge for Greece after you took over the Persians, right? Alexander, I had this question stuck in my brain for ages.
Why do you want to do this anyway? Fighting and conquering? First of all, my favorite tutor. Is he Leonidas? He's one of your tutor who is famous. Not really, but he did a great job in teaching me archery and horsemanship. My favorite tutor is Lysimachus. He has this very creative game, which I always be the main winner. But as I got older, in reality, I realized that I'm not yet the main character. So I fight, and later on the citizens of Macedon looked upon me as their real leader.
That is true. Do you have another reason?
Well, you know my father, King Philip of Macedon. He gradually made our Greek army more powerful. As a child, I saw him having victory one after another. He was my idol, but sometimes he always fought and didn't even take any care of me. So by retracing his steps or even stepping further, it made me realize and made me prove myself that I'm good enough to be the king of Macedon. Replace me instead of his place. So that's why I want to do this. Comes such in a sudden, but as you said before, I found it in Egypt.
I was very surprised. As I walked through the horrible boiling weather, I saw this empty land, and from my first touch, I know that this is my city, Alexandria. One of my servants seems to read oracles. He told me that Alexandria will be the second biggest city in this whole wide world during the 21st century. And without Dino Crate's help, the city won't be so beautiful.
I'm sorry, guys. Time's up. Thank you very much for joining us today, Alexander.
My pleasure.
Now let's move on to the breaking news at TEN. Good night, people.